Welcome, I'm Sheri Damaris, and I'm here today to talk to you about organic short grain brown rice. In 2005, I was asked to go to Japan and speak at the Tokyo Veg Festival about my work with macrobiotics. I was very inspired from my teacher, Michio Kushi, who had originally came from Japan to the United States and introduced a whole list of organic foods to Americans. Tofu, tempeh, natto, seitan, and organic short grain brown rice. So after my presentation in Tokyo, I was asked to come to southern Japan to study at a Shinto shrine. When I arrived at the shrine, I met a young monk who was also a composer of music. And he took me immediately when I arrived on a hike through the rice fields. And he taught me about how rice grows. And we said a meditation over the field of rice in 4 directions, north, south, east, and west. And he explained that rice, like animals and humans, have a personality, and they also have a spirit. And I was very inspired by this experience. And since then, I've been teaching cooking classes and showing people how to cook and grow brown rice. This year, I and several others have created a film documentary called The Spirit of Rice. And The Spirit of Rice is a project that we hope to inspire Americans about how to grow and harvest brown rice in any climate. Oftentimes we think it is only grown in warm climates, and right now we are visiting Christian Elwell at South River Miso Farm, and he's explaining to us how he grows it in colder climates. So Kristen gave me this beautiful bucket of rice, which I've been growing in my backyard, and as you can see, the seeds have been coming out. These are the actual rice seeds that eventually you can plant, replant, and grow more rice, or hull and eat as for a meal. Now, the unique quality of Christian's rice is that it has these little hair-like awns, A-W-N, growing from the tip of them. And during the nighttime, these awns collect dew, which filters down into the rice seed, which creates like a rice milk, and eventually hardens into a grain of rice. So why eat brown rice? Brown rice is one of the most nutritious foods in the world. Many cultures cook it down into a soft porridge, and they call it congee, and they use it to heal all sorts of ailments. They use it for baby's milk, and they use it for people who are dying to help their transition. Brown rice is very nutritious, and it actually is the fruit, the seed, and the husk all in one. So you get lots of fiber, you get lots of B vitamins, and lots of glucose for your brain. So we've used this little Japanese pot today to cook our short grain brown rice. It has 2 lids, a top lid and an inner lid. The top lid has 1 hole, and the inner lid has 2 holes. So how you cook your rice is you just take 1 cup of rice for this small donabe pot, and you rinse it to get the dirt out at least 3 times. Pour water in it, put it through a strainer, and then take a pinch of good quality sea salt. We use SI salt. Put it in with the grain, and then add the double amount of water. So you can do this in a saucepan if you don't have a clay pot. So as you can see, the rice comes out really fluffy and nice. You turn it on high, bring it to a boil, then turn it on super low, maybe put a flame tamer under it. Cook it for 60 minutes. As soon as you see steam coming out of the holes, you know that to turn it down. So we're going to show you some really fun things to do with this rice. And our first thing we're going to show is a very clever, very unique way of making sushi. So this is a box that you can order on Amazon. You need to soak it for at least 50 minutes so the rice does not stick. And the larger part with the legs you put on the bottom, and the cut part you put on top. So you think you're eventually going to turn this upside down. So you want to put some very decorative vegetables on the bottom because they'll show up on the top. So today we have some carrot flowers, and we boil the carrot. This is a red carrot, and this is a very, very sharp knife, vegetable knife. So we cut it very thin rounds. And then we use this little cookie cutter to cut flowers out of the carrots. And as you can see, they come out really cute, like little stars. And we'll put that on the bottom of the box. We have made some already. Now you can use any vegetables you like. You can use pickles, anything that is very colorful and beautiful will look nice in the box. So we're going to put carrots in first, and we're going to put 2 blanched spears of asparagus going opposite ways, just for decoration. And then always keep your hands wet when you touch rice. And we're going to scoop up some rice and put it on a very thin layer, pressed very well on top of the vegetables. Like I said, you can use any kind of vegetables you like. And think about color, think about taste, some sweet, some salty. Kids love doing this too. If you don't have a box, there's also these fun little cubes you can buy that make little squares of sushi. So you want to keep your hands very wet as you press down the rice. The secret is to press the rice as hard as you can. Now in the rice you can also add some sea salt and some maple syrup, or sea salt and rice syrup, to make it more like sushi rice. You can also do this with white rice, but keep in mind white rice is very delicious, but it doesn't have the bran, it doesn't have all the B vitamins that brown rice has. You press it down, and then we're going to take some olives. You can use green olives as well. These are black olives. And we're just going to put them on the sides, just like wagon wheels. And this will, again, add some color, some beauty to the dish. Like I said, you can put any sort of filling. Some kids like peanut butter and sauerkraut in their sushi. Or pickles and sauerkraut. Pickles and peanut butter. Now when Michio Kushi, my teacher, would talk about brown rice, he'd explain how important it is to have it at least once a day because of its nutritious value, but also because the ability to balance out your body and heal it. So I teach cooking to many, many people around the world that have heart disease, cancer, allergies, headaches, any sort of ailments. And I find that just by adding, not subtracting anything to their diet, but adding some whole grains, especially brown rice, they really improve their health. Many civilizations have lived on whole grains around the world. In fact, that's where the word meal came from, meaning grain. So we put the olives on the sides, and now we're going to put a little bit of avocado, sliced avocado, to just make it tasty. And again, we're pushing the rice down as hard as we can. And then we're going to wet our hands again and put in a little top layer of rice. Now these boxes are fun. If you don't have one, you can always make sushi rolls. Later on, I'm going to show you a really simple thing that kids in Japan do for school, making a rice ball. And the funny thing is, a lot of kids in Japan make rice balls before they take tests because they find that since brown rice has so much good quality glucose in it, it stimulates their thinking in their brain and they actually do better on their test. So if you're looking to help improve your memory, it's definitely a great food to eat. So we put in the rice. Now we're going to put a strip of nori. So this is the best, easiest sea vegetable to eat. We had Neil Barnard on the show talk about the importance of iodine. This is full of iodine and so helpful to the thyroid. And it comes in squares, either toasted or untoasted. Just make sure it's a good quality from a good company. Some of the imported Chinese nori has a lot of sugar or chemicals on it. So we're going to take a strip the size of the box and just put it over on the very top. So we have our carrot flowers, we have our olives, our asparagus, and then we have a layer of rice with the olives on the side, and then another layer of rice, or the avocado, another layer of rice, and then the nori on top. So we're going to press this down. And actually this lid fits into the box, so you can press it all the way in, down into the box. And this like just holds the sushi together. And then we're going to lift up the lid. You see it's much pressed down. And we're going to run our knife through the pre-cut edges of the sushi. And then you want to get a nice plate. And you're going to turn it over. Now, because this edge fits in, it doesn't push through, we want something to push through. So we use the second lid to push through the pieces of rice. And as you can see how beautiful they are. And you can separate them gently and put them on your serving plate. Just make sure to soak the box so it doesn't stick, the rice doesn't stick. And even if you forget to put some fun vegetables in there, you can always garnish with some more vegetables. So we're going to show you a real simple way to slice a radish. This is a vegetable slicer, and we just slice some pieces of radish and lay on top. Sort of complements the carrot flour. And we've made two toppings. This is my niece's famous ginger dressing. I'm just going to add a little dollop on the top. It's a Japanese sort of ginger tasting dressing. And then we're going to decorate it even more. This is shoyu, which is a natural soy sauce. Tamari is a little bit saltier, and it's good if you're gluten-free. And then shoyu is a natural soy sauce. It's naturally fermented. It has lots of enzymes in it, like miso. It doesn't have any chemicals or additives to it. And we cook that down with a little bit of brown rice syrup, which is simply brown rice cooked down and sweetened. So it thickens, and we're just going to drizzle it over the sushi. And see how beautiful that looks. And then we can take a flower from the garden. This is actually a squash flower growing in my garden. And sort of decorate the plate with the flower. And these are beautiful sushi. So easy, from simple short grain brown rice. One grain, 10,000 grains means that the world gives back so much to all of us that we may not even be aware of.
When we have a tiny little seed in front of us, there's an awful lot there in the seed that we don't see with our eyes. And how to tune into that which we don't see, that's where we might begin.
Rice governs life. Rice is not only something that people eat, but it's the foundation of culture and civilization.
To me, the spirit of rice is healthfulness for us individually, but it really means more than that. If we're healthy individually, that means we can take care of our families, they can be healthy too, our community, and maybe even take care of this small planet that we're sharing together.
Rice has no ethnicity or age or culture. It is a universal human food. So it's open to anyone enjoying it, growing it, and really feeling that spirit of oneness that rice can bring.
You will know your children when you see them.
They'll say, Mommy, Mommy.
Cook me.
You're my mother.
Welcome back. I'm Sheri Damaris, and we just talked about how to make really beautiful sushi squares, layered with vegetables, avocado, radishes, some olives, and some asparagus. And we're also going to garnish it a little bit with some cut scallion from my garden. So you just saw a piece of teaser of our new film called The Spirit of Rice. We hope to inspire people all around the world to grow their own garden, to try growing whole grains, especially brown rice, even in a bucket, and to go back and trust nature as we go through all these extremely difficult times. It's so important to remember that nature can support us in so many ways. So we encourage you to watch the trailer, research us on the GoFundMe page. It's called The Spirit of Rice, and to see the progress of how our documentary is progressing, and to stay in touch with me as we're doing other projects with the spirit of other grains as well. So I'm going to continue to use some of this brown rice and show you a really simple way to travel with it. So this is our rice cooker, our Japanese rice cooker. We've already used some rice for the rice squares, and now I'm going to just show you a really quick and easy way to travel with your rice, and a way that school kids in Japan eat their rice. So you want to always make sure your hands are wet when you're handling rice and clean. And you're going to scoop up about a handful of cooked brown rice. And you know a good cook when they can cook brown rice really nicely, not too wet, not too dry, and really fluffy with no burnt spots on the bottom. That's a sign of a good, really good cook. So we take about a handful of rice, we're wetting our hands, And we're going to make it into almost like a donut shape with the hole filled in. And as I do it, the moisture from my hands compresses the rice just like it did in the box. And we can actually press it like 33 times one way and 33 times the other way, and that makes sure that it's pretty solid. Now, kids at school, kids that I teach love doing this. It's a really simple way. You can make them into triangles or a round donut like what I'm doing. And they put all sorts of fun things inside. Some kids put peanut butter and jelly inside. Some people put tuna fish inside. Today we're going to use a pickled plum from Japan called umeboshi. So umeboshi are very tart plums that grow in Japan. You can't really eat them off the tree. You have to pickle them with shiso leaves and a lot of sea salt. And they're actually a very medicinal food. So if you can buy them at your natural food store, Eden Food sells them, and they also support our film documentary. You can carry them with you in your purse because they help with headaches, colds, flus, sore throats. They actually help balance the blood. So it's a natural aspirin. So once you get your rice ball pressed, again, keeping your hands wet, you're going to make a hole in the center, just a small hole. And you don't want to put the whole plum in. It's a little bit too salty, just like a pinch of the plum, and that preserves the rice. And then you'll cover up the hole with a little bit more rice. Again, wet your hands to keep the rice ball moist and press together. And it's so important to keep a nice positive attitude in the kitchen when you're cooking. So before you go into the kitchen, just settle down, be quiet, maybe listen to nice music. You don't ever want to go into the kitchen angry or upset. It's like Water for Chocolate, like the movie. Your thoughts and your attitude are energy, and they go into your food. So we've covered the rice over the piece of umeboshi. We're now going to take 2 square pieces of nori, and we're going to wrap them around the rice. Now you do need your hands a little wet to make the nori fold around the rice, but not too wet that you turn the rice ball too soggy, because the moisture in the rice will help wrap the rice. So as you wrap and turn, the nori actually adheres to the rice. Now, why do we do this? These rice balls will keep for up a week. If you go hiking or biking, or as long as they stay pretty much cool, they will stay, and you can have them as your whole grain for the day. So you can take them backpacking, you can take them on car trips. They do need a little bit of air to breathe. So this is a Japanese sushi basket, and as you can see, it lets it breathe a little bit. If you don't have one, you can just put them in some parchment paper or wrap them loosely in a paper bag, or sometimes just a plastic bag for if you're just taking them for a couple days. So here's our rice ball, and you can put them in the container like this and cover them, and you'll have lunch for the next day. So I just wanted to talk to you more about our film documentary. We created this film. It was inspired by my visit to Japan in 2005. And we have been filming at South River Farm. This is our 5th visit so far. And we're following Kristen Elwell, who is the co-owner of South River Miso. You might have seen the jars of miso in stores. And he's been growing rice for over 30 years. This year, he's growing the Dvorkian rice, which he grows every year. And then he also grows a whole bunch of other strands of rice, which we show in the film. The Dvorkian rice, like I said, is really important because it has these little hair-like awns on the rice that collect the dew at night and actually can stimulate or inspire our higher intuition. So we go up to the farm. We've also included some clips from well-known doctors as to why to eat brown rice and why brown rice is so nutritious for us and our families. We were including some clips from researchers who are looking into, is there any arsenic in homegrown rice? We're also looking into filming some children growing rice on rooftops, gardens especially, because you can grow rice anywhere. If you can't have a piece of land, you can always find a bucket or a patio to grow some rice. Even if you're not hulling it and eating it, it's a beautiful ornamental plant, and it's a very spiritual plant. So I hope that you can join us in watching the film, helping us to distribute the film and educate the world about that. It's so important to eat whole grains, especially brown rice, and to grow your own garden, especially in these trying times with possible food shortages on the horizon, and our quality of food is going down because of factory farming and columbines planting all of our seeds, and people spraying a lot of the plants, and also altering our seeds. There's over 9,000 strands of rice, and we need to save our seeds and help reproduce our seeds and enjoy the vast abundance that nature can provide. So make sure to eat healthy, take care of the planet, and join us for our next episode of Macro Magic.